Good morning, everybody. I decided I wanted something sweet today. Haven't decided on dinner yet, but I'm going to make an easy peach cobbler. I'm sure you've heard of it, the cup, a cup, a cup. You're going to have a cup of flour, a cup of self-rising flour, and it has to be self-rising because you're not using any eggs. And you've got a cup of milk. You're also going to need a half a cup or a stick of butter. You're going to need 2 cans of peaches. I got the halves, so I'm going to have to slice these up real quick before I pour them in there. So I'm going to get this kind of, you just mix these 3 together. I'm going to melt the butter. I'm using a cast iron skillet instead of the pan, the oven pan. If you want to use the oven pan, it's going to be the 9x13 size for this. So I'm going to get the butter melted inside the skillet, and then I'm going to mix these ingredients, just whisk them together, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I have the milk and flour and sugar mixed up. Again, I just use the whisk on this. So once you got that, and then you got your butter melted on the bottom, again, you're going to melt it in the oven. If you're using a cast iron, make sure you kind of, well, remember it's hot for one thing, and you're just going to kind of make sure you get it all around the edges as well, okay? All right, so we're going to you just pour your flour mixture in. You don't stir anything. You just pour your mixture in. Okay? And then you're going to pour your... And this is with the juice. Just kind of like scatter it around where all the peaches aren't in one spot. You do leave the juice in it. So this is... I'm going to kind of like move some of these peaches around so you make sure there's peaches throughout. All right? So it's just going to look like this before it goes in the oven. I'm going to put it on 350 for about 30 minutes or until the top is nice and golden brown. So I will check on this in about 15-20 minutes, see how it's doing, and I will show y'all what it looks like when it comes out. Oh, I forgot my last step. I like cinnamon sugar over mine. I usually just take one of my cinnamon containers and I put about this much of sugar and the rest of cinnamon and make my own cinnamon sugar. So I'm just going to kind of sprinkle this over the top. You don't have to do this step, but again, I like my cobblers to have a, you know, the cinnamony sugary taste. So I sprinkle my cinnamon sugar over the top. Now it's going in the oven. Okay, so it actually took, in the skillet here, it took about 55 minutes. To get nice and brown around the edges. I think next time I'm not going to put all of the juice, maybe just 1 can of the juice, because I'm using the skillet and not the 9x13 pan. If you use the 9x13 pan, then I would say use the juice, but if you're going to use the skillet, maybe just use 1 can. I'm going to let this sit and rest about 5 minutes or so, and I'm going to come back and see, you know, how it all gelled up and if it looks as good as it, I'm sorry, I can't talk today. If it tastes as good as it smells. All right, just to get this wrapped up, I let this sit for about 10 minutes to let everything kind of finish gelling up. Again, I think, of course, you know, cobbler is supposed to be kind of juicy, so it's not, you know, completely unusual to have a lot of juice in it. But I think, again, next time I'm going to just not use, I'll use like a can of the juice, but not as much juice, because as you can see, it's really, really juicy. I'm sure it's still going to taste good, but it's, to me, it just, I would prefer it to be a little bit more crispy on the outside. So again, this is what it looks like, what it turns out, with the cup, a cup. Either use a 9x13 pan, and then you can use all of the juice from the peaches, or if you're going to use a skillet like this, only use 1 can of the juice, because I think that's what the issue was, is there was just way too much juice, is why it didn't, all of it didn't get more of a crust like this, which is what I prefer. So this is my first time doing it in the skillet. I just thought it would be better, so I kind of use the same recipe. But if you're going to do it in a skillet, I would recommend not using as much of the juice. So if y'all have any questions, let me know. Or if you have a method that you've done it before that you found out makes it turn out better, put it in the comments below. If not, enjoy, y'all.